So Woody,
Hi Doug.
nice to see you.
It's good to see you.
So the first question I usually ask people is, do you like magic?
I don't dislike magic.
The answer is yes.
I love magic. Absolutely love it.
We'll try again. Woody, do you like magic?
Yes,
Excellent,
I really
you've
love
come
magic.
to the right channel.
Yeah.
So why do you say that then? What's the uncertainty of it?
Sometimes it can be repetitive and quite boring because there's only so many tricks out there, I guess. So if you've seen some, you can.
But you've dabbled in magic, and that's how one of the ways in which we know each other. And
Yes.
you've gone to magic club and stuff. So how much of it that is?
I was hoping you wouldn't say that.
Okay, fine. So the answer is yes, and Woody was never a magician.
No, okay.
You weren't in the newspaper with a bullet catch.
Yes, I was.
There you go.
Yeah.
You see.
No, magic is great. It's good. Aren't you a magician?
Well, I try not to be, but
Yeah.
no. But sort of like, how much of that of you saying about about the repetition and stuff? How much of that is because you've just been exposed to more magic than most people because you've dabbled in doing it a bit yourself?
I think that was it.
Yeah. So what got you into wanting to learn how to do a few tricks and get involved in it and stuff like that? Because there must have been something about it that you liked at one time.
I think you were the first person to teach me a trick.
Oh,
so
shit.
yeah, so it's all your fault.
Right.
I knew James, and he said that you did magic, and then you taught me the French drop, which and I couldn't do it for like 300 times. And I think part of why I got into it was because there was something I couldn't do, and I'll practice a lot, and then I'll be able to do it. Not very well, but I'll be able to do it better than I could before. So that was kind of an achievement, and I think when you're young, it's kind of, it's quite nice. Kind of doing that when you're at school and stuff.
And did you do tricks at school then, or was it like?
I won the men's school talent contest, I think.
Oh, I wanted that talent show.
Yeah, I actually won. I don't know. I think that was because of the lack of talent at the school, rather than
the judges.
Yeah, I had to. Pay
I didn't win that one,
but
and I entered with 3 stage illusions.
You actually?
Yeah, I don't think it was a competition though.
Who did you lose to?
I don't know, but I don't think it was a competition.
It definitely
at the time.
was a
It was a talent show.
right.
Yeah, it wasn't when I went. Maybe
okay.
they got more kind of like X Factor over the years, but when I did it, it was just a case of just going on and just doing a talent
Everyone
show.
gets a participation award.
I got the participation award. You got what?
I don't think there was a prize. I got.
Right.
Yeah, I got. I think I
beat
said
Doug,
I won.
that's
You
good.
beat me. That's the prize. That's the reward in itself. You're like Rocky. I feel like Apollo Creed.
But the only thing I remember about that was doing back palms, and I remember my hands being sweaty because it's weird.
It's coming back to me now. I remember.
It was performing in
This
front
is
of
so
people.
How many years ago was this? This is. I remember.
So what's I? 15, 16. So about 15 years ago.
You're one of my original students.
Yeah, I
Oh
know.
well.
Back in the day.
Yeah. So what tricks did you do in the talent show then?
I can't.
And I think I
just
helped
can't
you with
remember.
it because I do remember it.
Trying to get a little bit of credit there. Look.
Like Mr. Miyagi. Daniel-san.
I'm not an expert in magic, but I think I was doing
Oh,
back
my.
palms. I think I was doing back palms, which surprises me how I could have won, which is why I think it was the lack of talent in the rest of the school, which was
Right.
the main reason.
Well, I think the thing is, if somebody plays an instrument, people are used to hearing instruments. They know if the instrument sounds in key or off tune or anything. Whereas if somebody watches a poor magician, not saying that you were, I'm just saying that the reason why poor magicians can get away with being seen greater than they are is because people, again, don't know what they're looking for. And so anything, and they have a kind of like a low level of expectation of magic. So if you do anything half decent, then it's, oh wow, that was like the greatest thing they've ever seen. It is. It's not the greatest thing there is, but it's the greatest thing they've ever seen. And it's a very subjective thing, which is why it's very difficult to objectively measure. Whereas something like music, you can objectively measure it by saying, oh, that's out of key or whatever it is. Do you know what I mean?
I was too negative earlier. I do like magic. It's enjoyable. It's all coming back to me now.
Do you know what I mean, though? It's like, I'm very negative about magic, and it's sort of like, what is it? It's kind of like a love-hate thing, because when I get into it, and I love it, and I'm doing it, I love it. But when I'm not doing it, I just think about it, I just go, oh, I don't want to be... it's weird.
You could probably cut all this out, but it's probably the magic clubs are full of... I suppose in any other... So in any other performance thing, like you don't tend to get singers join a club and sing to each other.
I never thought about it that way. I know you got bowls clubs and sports clubs and stuff where people get together and play rugby. I always thought of it more like that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Where people, or darts clubs or whatever. There's other clubs where people get together and do their hobby. But you are right. I've never thought of it like that.
And then I think it becomes really niche, and it's performing tricks to people who perform tricks. Whereas the good thing about this show is it's real people watching and then getting their perspectives. So yeah, I think that probably didn't help kind of make me fall in love with it.
Yeah, so with the magic clubs, what did you find with the magic clubs? Because, and I think you've hit the nail on the head, it's sort of like you're performing for people that know how the tricks are done, when really it should be the layman or the spectator or the kind of the normal person, the audience, that decides if a magic trick's good or not somebody that knows how the effect is done. They're all for good for sort of like helping, like if you know you're flashing something, or if there's something a bit, or make a suggestion to improve the performance. But in terms of critiquing it, in the sense that you can get away with so much with normal people because they don't know what they're looking for, they don't know what you're doing, and even if it goes wrong you can still kind of recover in some way by doing something else, by going into something else, and you can kind of rest a bit, and it's kind of that don't run when you're not being chased idea, whereby there's no point in getting all tense, or can they see this move, because they don't know what they're looking for, so you can just kind of relax and just sort of like take a card and you know, do it very methodically. And but at the club, they get, at magic clubs, they get very particular about how you should or shouldn't do certain things. There's kind of like an ideology that builds around, you know, when really it's just a case of the feedback loop between you and the person performing the trick, and every person that you perform a trick to is going to be different slightly. Some people will see you do the move, others won't. It's not necessarily if you're a better performer or not, it's just that on that occasion that person spotted something and the other person didn't.
Yeah, I suppose the real world setting as well is different. I guess when you perform for people in the real world, it's very different to performing at a magic club.
Yeah, but the thing I will say about magic clubs is it's a great place to go, depending on which club you go to and who's there and the atmosphere and all that kind of stuff, because if they're like inclusive and they're helpful, it's a really great place to go and just be creative and experiment with ideas and sit down. I used to love turning up to a club and just getting a drink and just going from table to table and just people showing each other tricks, or at conventions and stuff like that. There's a real kind of communal atmosphere in a club, whereas some other clubs can be very exclusive and exclude people and make people feel like they're not good enough, whereas other clubs can be like, you are good enough and look, let's have a chat, and it's very inclusive. So I think that it all depends on the type of club.
It was probably that inclusive atmosphere that kept me more interested for longer than I would have been outside of that, because it becomes part of your social life and group and things.
It's a social group, like playing like tennis or anything.
Sure.
It's not that you want to be the greatest tennis player in the world. It's not that you're going to go and play tournaments. But you do like playing tennis, and you like to meet up with other people that like to play tennis. And I think that's the same with a magic club. And you can have professionals in there, but there's also amateurs and people that just are magic enthusiasts, and they just like figuring out how things are done, or they just like to they like enjoy watching magic. You know, there's a good variety, I think.
And also, I just don't think I was confident enough. I think you have to have like a real confidence to be a magician, and
arrogance.
Arrogance. I was searching for the word.
Because you've got to really, because you're trying to sell something that isn't true. It's a bit like the worst kind of salesman you can be. It's like, I'm going to do this, and you're going to completely lie, and you know.
And it's hard to win people over, I guess, because a lot of people don't want to be tricked, or unless they buy into it, you kind of you need that personality to win people over. I probably haven't touched any cards for like 9 or 10 years maybe, but I think I could probably still do it, or one move or two. But
it's like riding a bike.
Exactly, because it's so often, and it shows how simple it is as well, in a sense. It's simple, it's effective, and it looks good.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and you'll be notified of our latest videos.